Anyways, on books, little self-plug here. It's not me, but
not self-plug. That is not you.
Definitely not me. That's the same first name, Mr. Matthew. But that's Mr. Matthew McConaughey. He wrote a book called Green Light. It's really cool. It's all the stories about his life, notes and documents and stuff like that. It talks about his journey and how to do it. And if you want a good read, I've only just started reading pieces of it, and it's really, really cool. And it's massive, but it's a good read. Cool.
There you go.
Easy peasy.
Look at that. Welcome to session number 42.
42.
Do you know how to say 42 in another language?
42, mum. Pretty much nailed that. Huh?
Yeah.
That's 42 if you didn't quite pick that up.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for translating. Just can you make sure you stick to English for this
I will,
session?
just so the peeps can follow along. Okay. This
Get to it.
Bilingual stuff going on. What's our topic again today, Sheridan?
How to finish strong, or how to finish.
What a
finishing
topic.
Strong, how to finish. To do with finishing.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll start.
Good.
Cool. All right. So, like Sheridan was saying, everything's about how to finish, and it's direct correlation to challenges or anything really. But today we'll reference the challenge because that's coming up recently in a few weeks. And it's easy for people to sort of make comparisons and quite often relate, because when you start a challenge, we find that people start with energy, enthusiasm. I'm going to do this. Whoop, whoop, go me. Sisters doing them for themselves, all that sort of stuff. And they charge on through into the start of it. And then come somewhere in the challenge, they sort of derail a little bit. They either go one of two ways, either derail completely and we don't see them for a little bit, or they derail and then someone gives them a clip around theirs and they pop back on again, and then they come in and finish. But the challenge is that there's this derail in the middle. So we wanted to sort of talk about and that's for everything, typically, even any sort of goal you set, there's usually a journey there where you're almost to the point where you're nervous you're going to achieve something, so you sort of sabotage yourself and get off it because it's easier than going through and finishing it because you don't know what that looks like. So in reference to the challenge, we're going to talk about, and your goals, of course, but we're going to talk about today some things to look out for and some things that you can use to help you sort of stop the derail and allow yourself to push on, which is the key. So the first one, this is really random, but you actually have to start, number one, you actually have to start with the end in mind. So you actually have to start and decide that I'm going to finish a challenge, not start a challenge, not do a challenge. I'm actually going to finish a challenge. See, the psyche in that is totally different. And if you go backwards, it's like starting your house, for example. If you were to build a brand new house, you don't get the land and go, all right, let's do this thing. And
let's just chuck a whole heap of bricks
put some over here. Yeah, I'll put my toilet here for a bit. Oh, no, I want to move it now. You start with the design process at the end. So you're going to see what it looks like first before you actually even start to break ground.
That's a really good analogy.
It is. And it's really relevant because Kate Van Summer has just done this recently. She knows this process. So what happens is you start with the end in mind. So saying, I'm going to finish a house. You don't go, I'm going to get that block of land and we'll work the house out later and we'll stay in a tent kind of thing. It's actually the foundations are laid and everything's followed through. Very, very relevant, because the next step of that process is to actually make a plan. So the first step is to start with, decide that I'm going to finish the challenge. But then you work backwards from that. So to finish something, you have to have a plan to work off to be able to finish it. So the next step is you need to have a plan. And the saying goes, and we use it here all the time, is failure to plan is a plan to fail. And if you don't put the time in to make a plan, it is hard to succeed. Now, the cool part for you guys in relation to doing a challenge, I believe, is we've taken all the guessing out of it for you. We've given you everything. We've given you the workouts, we've given you the food plans if you want to follow those nice and simply. We've literally made it so simple that the only thing you actually really have to plan is where are you going to put your exercise? That's your biggest decision with a challenge. So when people get derailed, I'm always a little bit confused because it's so simple to stay on track. Yet the thing you're derailing from is typically exercise, because it's the only thing that you have to put into your life, because you still have to eat every day. Nothing changes there. You still have to work around your job and all that sort of stuff. So nothing changes in that regard. Or the only thing that you're making a change in doing is watching your numbers. And you're tweaking them and you're paying attention to them. But that's simple because you do that every day anyway. The only thing that really gets in the way is exercise that we can see. And we even take the guessing out of it for you. We even give you what to do, tell you what to do, give you a place to come or a place to go online and do these things. Yet something happens in the middle there which derails you. And the only thing you've changed in your life in theory is exercise. So you need to make a plan. That's really the thing. And basically what you need to do there is you need to make a to-do list or doable lists that you can do. So like I said, we've done most of the thinking for you in a challenge. The only thing you have to really do is go, where am I going to exercise? So you're planning for the week, other than food, because you already eat. You don't need to make a plan for that. You're going to say, I'm going to eat this week. You don't starve yourself for the week. You're going to eat every day anyway. So you just need to make a plan of when those times work for you. And everyone seems to make time to eat. Everyone's got a gift. I'll eat now because I'm hungry and bored and looking in the cabinet in the pantry. So we don't have a challenge eating. That's the easy part. We don't seem to miss that one. We seem to be okay with picking that one up on the way to and bag of chippies on the way to the couch. We seem to have that.
That was that's another accent. We got accent number 3 for today.
We seem to be able to put these little habits in like this, but we seem to push exercise out like that. So the only real planning we believe in with this challenge, because it's all given to you, is where are you going to do your exercise? So the good part about how we do these challenges compared to how we used to do them is they're all online accessible, as well as you can come in face to face if you're local to us. So making the time to put in where you're going to do that exercise, and then not compromising on that time, because the good part for you is that here at FBFM or Fit Body Fit Mind, we don't like working out for an hour. We are far from that. If we could have an hour, we'd get you to work out for 4 minutes. And that's possible to do too. We've had people like Adro, he went through the last one, he couldn't do all of them. So he just did 4 minutes a day as a commitment to himself. Amazing transformation.
And he got top 3.
He was top 3 and he did it on 4 minutes a day. That is making the challenge work for you, right? Getting on top of the food and putting exercise in, and it's only 4 minutes as a BAM or a bare ass minimum. And he made that a priority in his life, had an amazing transformation, because exercise, the right amount of exercise for your lifestyle, plus the right food and numbers equals the results. That's the simple part about it. So your biggest challenge is, where do you put the exercise and how do you not negotiate on it? Now I have to pay a special shout out here to Kate Van Summeren, because she's done 30 minutes of exercise, correct me if I'm wrong, Kate, every day for how long is it? It's weeks and
Just
weeks.
remember you're muted, so you
If you
can't
can type
just,
it in for
even
me,
if
please,
you
Kate.
scream it at the screen, we still won't get it.
She just typed it in. But truly amazing. It's been like, I want to say April, was it? She's typing. Give us a
Drum
second.
roll. The people are waiting on you, Kate. No
So
pressure.
July 10th, there you go. Since July 10th, every day she's done a commitment of 30 minutes a day. Now this is where it gets really cool.
That is phenomenal.
Typically, we don't do anything on a Sunday or that's accessible online, other than you could go on and do stuff. So that means that Kate has to organize exercise on that day herself. She can't hop online and go, what are they going to tell me to do? She actually has to figure out what she's going to do herself. So she's planned since the 10th of July, every day, 30 minutes, non-negotiable. Here's where it gets even cooler, which is what I really love, is through Kate doing that, her husband, Mark, has set the same goal for this year to do 30 minutes every day for a period of time.
Amazing.
Which is phenomenal, because the flow-on effect runs into her family. So that's an amazing, amazing result, which makes doing challenges and stuff like that easier.
And they've got 2 young boys that get to see this, which is even better, because not only does that ripple affect the relationship, it then goes into their kids and then their kids' kids and all this kind of stuff. So it just flows on and affects that. But so that is a reason why Kate looks so fantastic. She's gone into 2021 looking the best she's ever looked. Oh, she looks 100 times, not 100 times, a lot. You look great. I'm really digging myself a hole. I'm just going to drink.
As water, and thank God, otherwise it'd be worse than what she was just saying.
Yeah.
No.
I'm saying though, there's a reason why she looks so great and she's got the results that she's got, because she's put in the work.
Exactly.
But that work is only 30 minutes a day. It's not like it's
and level. I think we get 24 hours in a day.
Do you know we actually get 1,440 minutes in a day, and she only takes 30 of those. So there's still 1,410 minutes left over
to do lots of things.
How good's that?
You can still eat in that time too.
Pretty sure it's 1,440.
I hope so.
I'm a math genius. I worked it out once.
And so what the reality is that Kate's a great example for this, because what you repeatedly do, you're rewarded for. So you're repeatedly out. So you are, sorry. So what happens is, because she's compounded those efforts over time since the 10th of July, which is phenomenal, and she's honored it. She's seeing the snowballs in her favor. So she's made the plan and she's stuck to the plan. So she hasn't wavered, and the results are phenomenal. And everyone in her life is like, wow, you look amazing. She's fitting clothes. She's never been able to fit in a long time, all that sort of stuff. Their energy, she's running faster. She's doing all these amazing things because She committed to herself and she hasn't wavered. She hasn't looked left. She hasn't looked right. She's just gone straight down saying, this is my thing. So the cool part is you have to decide to finish first. You have to make the plan and then you have to start. So it works backwards. That's the key to finishing something, right? And you actually have to start before it's time to start, if that makes sense. So instead of starting on Monday when the challenge would officially start.
Not this Monday, the 15th of Feb.
Sorry. Basically what that would say is that instead of waiting until the start date and everyone blowing themselves out on the Saturday saying, I'm going to be fat for my first photo and all this sort of stuff there, what they don't realize is that is more detrimental to the transition than it is anything else, because that habit that you just fed is just like a flame all of a sudden. It's going crazy because you've just fed it going, yeah. And that's now fresh in your mind about overindulging.
And you've also set yourself up to into a mindset of lack as well. So you go from going, I'm going to eat this now 100%. And going fat, but then that's a mindset of, that means I then can't have it throughout this challenge. And then what are you going to do at the end of the challenge? Of course, you're going to go back to that. So rather than doing it that way, incorporate those things to make them fit in the numbers so that you're never without and you don't go in with a mindset of lack.
Exactly right. So really easy. So you start, but you don't wait to start till the competition starts. You just start the process early. You don't have to wait. Too many people wait until that. And there's so many things that happen between the moment you make a decision and the moment you start something that can derail you in the process before you even begin. You can tell someone, hey, I'm going to do this challenge. It's going to be awesome. And they can question you and go, oh, you've done one of those before. It didn't work. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, it didn't. And they just little punch there. They don't mean to do it. They just do it because that's just who they are. And they care about you. They don't want you to be hurt.
Well, I had to actually stop myself the other day because I had a friend who's doing a different kind of challenge. It's a different eating plan and stuff like that. Has done our challenges and stuff before, but hasn't committed to finishing. And it's now doing this and asked for my opinion before she embarked on this. And I almost said, you know what to do. You just got to do it. And rather than being supportive and going, cool, go for it. So there's always, even someone like us that we're trained not to say things like that. I almost did, and I had to catch myself.
Yeah. So it's pretty, I believe, or we believe, sorry, that what you say to yourself is really detrimental. So if someone says something to you that you can't do that, or that's not right, or they condemn you, like they just lay some nasty words on you, and you genuinely believe what that person said, or you respect that person, or they intimidate you, whatever it is, and you believe those words, you say to yourself the same words like, oh my God, you're right. So your brain has heard those words coming from Sheridan into my head. I agree with Sheridan, which means that that's even worse, because what Sheridan really says to me is irrelevant. It's what I say to myself, which matters. So Sheridan can say something to me like, you could never do that. That's not possible. If I believe her and say, oh my God, you're right, I'm 100% setting myself up to fail. It's going to be a hard challenge. But if I challenge her and go, actually, who are you to tell me what to do? This is my life, my body, my rules, my goals, my everything. And I go ahead and forge on. I'll forge on in the right direction and I'll achieve what I set out to do. The difference is if I believe what is said to me, there's the challenge. That's why words are so important, to really get that under control. So the next step we've got here. So the first three I'll go through them really quickly. You have to decide to finish first. Then you have to make a plan, which is very similar. You'll hear this a lot through what we do. The plan is needed. Then number three is you have to actually start. Now, when you start, this is what I feel like happens to people, especially in a challenge, is you start to compare yourself to others. You actually start to look around and go, oh my God, Sheridan has had such amazing results. It's not fair. She has it so easy. And this is all we hear is this complaining, whining, whinging. And then what happens from that is a negative story coming into your head. So it's creeping in and it's your words. It's not anyone telling you that. It's just you comparing you to them, which is stupid because that's not what this challenge is based on. This challenge is based on your transformation, not you versus the other person. It is how dramatic and how amazing can you go from 1 week to in 8 weeks. So we're looking at that transformation relevant to that person. We're not looking for the person with the abs coming through and all that sort of stuff. We would if it was a dramatic transformation, but it's not a tick requirement. You don't have to have abs at the end to be the winner of these challenges. Not at all. So what people have to stop doing is compare themselves to others, and you can do that any kind of goal. You might be setting yourself up a goal to run a marathon, and then Sheridan's out there running 4-minute 30 kilometers and I'm only doing 5-minute 30s. And it's like, it's not fair. She's doing 4-minute 30s. How am I ever meant to do this? And blah, blah. I've just done the wrong thing. I compared myself to someone else. because the journey of a marathon isn't about the other person. It's about my journey to complete that marathon. So comparing yourself to others is a massive derailer to people. And it's typically what we hear in a challenge is the comparison of them to others. Or they go, why is that person doing 2 boot camps a day and such and such and such and such? And they start going, I can't do 2 boot camps a day. See, that's comparing. And that's irrelevant because you can only do what's good for your day. But if you stay focused and honor your plan and honor your workouts, you will receive those results. The difference is some people are time flexible and some people are time poor, which doesn't mean you can't receive the same results. Heck, Adro did it with 4 minutes a day. So that throws that rule out. Oh, she did 1 hour a day because she got 2 workouts. That means absolutely jack shit. I'm sorry, but it actually means nothing. It just means if you can commit to yourself daily, you are rewarded every day for the effort you do repetitively. Sorry. Kate Van Sumeren is a great example of this.
Exactly.
Okay, so she repeatedly done it since July 10th, and she looks phenom and keeps getting phenomenal, and she loves it. And now her husband's doing it. That's phenomenal. That's a massive change.
That's a win.
That's a win-win, baby. So don't compare yourself to others. That's a massive thing because that's a big derailer. The 5th thing is don't just finish the challenge. Absolutely smash it by completing the challenge. Now, what that means is instead of just going, I've got to get to XYZ date or through the 8 weeks or whatever it is, instead of just having that sort of mindset, have a mindset of, I'm going to throw myself at this for 8 weeks and give it everything I got, because at the end of it, I want to say I completed an 8-week challenge, not participated in an 8-week challenge. I actually gave it everything I possibly could, and my transformation could not have been any better because I threw myself at it the best I possibly could. I've made some amazing habit changes. I'm in a better place. I feel better. And when I compare week 1 to week 8, my photos, it looks phenomenal because I gave it everything I've got, because I completed the challenge, regardless of the outcome of the challenge. You don't have to finish first to have an amazing transformation and know that it was the best decision you ever made to do the challenge. Okay? 5 easy steps. Ready? Decide to finish, make a plan. Then you have to start. Then you don't compare yourself to others. And the 5th one there is, don't just finish the challenge, but complete it and absolutely smash the shit out of it. Excuse my language. But I really want you to focus on honoring what you say you're going to do to yourself and go through and finish it. We're at the start of 2021. 2020 was like a complete write-off for so many people. Don't let last year dictate how you approach this year. Start this year off with a full-on, like, you know what? I'm going to start by honoring what I say to myself by starting an 8-week challenge and completing the 8-week challenge the best I possibly can. I don't care if life gets tough, if my job is shit, my husband's giving me crap, whatever it is. I don't care about those things because it's my life and I'm going to do the best I can do regardless of external forces. Okay? Because all you're committing to is 30 minutes a day, maximum.
You've still got 1,410 remaining. You
can still deal with the crappy husband. He's still there and those other remaining hours, but take the 30 minutes for you. Or 20 minutes or whatever it is that you can commit to. We have got one of our new members starting and he goes, I've been doing the online stuff. It's amazing. I've really loved it. But I can only get through about 15 minutes and then I'm done. Like I'm out of energy. So I just stop there. Is that okay? Seeking my approval. I said, oh my God, that's amazing. You did 15 minutes. That's so cool. I said, some people only do 4 minutes. He's like, really? So he felt really good because he just pre-framed that he was failing to do 30 minutes. So I said to him, I was like, cool, set a goal of trying to get through 16 minutes, then your next one, and then 17, 18, and build the wins, build the reps so that when you hit that 30, it's a big celebration that he can complete 30 minutes of exercise. So that's now his goal. So instead of him thinking he was failing, I told him that people actually do less and still receive amazing results. So we've got our 5 things, right? That's the key things. Now I'm going to give you some hot tips on how to sort of, some strategies and stuff to help implement some of those things really. So number 1 is limit distractions and interruptions. So remember, the only thing you're adding into your life, really, because you already eat and you already do all that other stuff, in theory, is exercise.
Consistent exercise. Consistent exercise,
regardless if it's 4 minutes, if it's the low intensity, steady training stuff where it's 45 minutes or it's 30-minute boot camps. It's regardless. It's all you have to find time in the day for. That's the only real challenge that you have, and keep track of your numbers. That's really all it is in its simplest form. But limit your distractions and your interruptions when you do those exercises. So don't spend your time accessible to people for that 30 minutes. You need to make yourself inaccessible by putting headphones in, maybe is a good option.
Getting rid of the phone. It doesn't matter if a text message comes through, you can get back to it in 30 minutes.
Turn notifications off, all that sort of stuff there. But headphones are a great one because it blocks out external noise, which is really cool. That was a good one for the online ones. If you can get into the gym, so actually make the journey to a gym. Admittedly, it adds a little bit of time on because you have to travel in. I'm sorry, from that 30 minutes I said was all you got to do. You'd have to add for travel time. So it takes away from all those minutes that Sheridan was talking about. But regardless of that, is when you come in, you can have time to yourself, especially if you can get to FBFM, because what we're able to do 90% of the time is we're able to distract the children from your 30 minutes if it's at the studio. So it gives you time to have time for you, and the kids are sort of entertained for 30 minutes and you get to spend a bit of time on you, which is very, very cool, as best as we possibly can. There are some exceptions to the rules on that one, of course. So number one is limit distractions. It's a really, really important because you've only got to find 30 minutes. And if you spend 30 minutes, but you spend half of it dealing with kids and running and dealing with the phone, and I've got to check dinner really quickly, and is that someone at the door? Oh, I forgot to check my emails. And you get all this, you miss the point of it. And you've only got 30 minutes to allocate to it maximum. So allocate everything you've got to that time. Even if it was only 15 minutes, give it the 15 minutes. Don't give it 7.5 and I spent 4 minutes dealing with the pooey nappy or something like that. Like, the pooey nappy can wait for 30 minutes. Like, I don't have kids, so I don't know if that's possible, but I'm sure it is.
I've got pooey nappies in the reshape room for 30 minutes. They can wait 30 minutes.
There you go. They're just baking.
I can survive in that small room with the pooey nappy, especially on a hot day. You guys can too.
It's pretty rank in there sometimes when I walk in there. I'm like,
yeah.
I just assume you acclimatize to it in there.
You eventually do.
Easy. So number one, limit distractions and disruptions. That's an easy one to do, right? And you can do that, turn your notifications off, turn your screen time off, all that sort of stuff there. If you find that you're sitting and you're binge watching Netflix and you're not making time for exercise, just disconnect Netflix for a month, or 2 months. Take 8 weeks away from it. And then as a reward for completing the challenge, when you complete the challenge, reinstall Netflix and enjoy the Netflix. Make these sacrifices to benefit you and your health journey, because I can promise you, as much fun as Netflix is to sit down and watch it, it's more detrimental to your health than it is beneficial.
And the thing is, as well, is we can't get a different result if we don't change.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean you have to change drastically, but it means that you got to do things different. If you want a different result, you've got to do things different. You can't expect to do exactly what you're doing right now and get a different result.
100%. Next tip, hot tip for you, ask for help. Don't be too pride and shameful to not ask for help. You don't have to do it alone. There's people out there in the challenge doing it together. So sometimes you can link arms with someone else that's out there to help you be accountable to it. I find that it's great if you've got an accountable buddy. I find that accountable groups don't quite work because the group people can sort of filter back and disappear. And unless one person's like pulling everyone up, it doesn't quite work. Yeah. So it's more effective if you just have you and one other, maybe two others at best, but you have to be both committed to holding each other accountable and not feeling like you're going to offend them if you call them out on it. So you just have to set rules at the beginning saying, cool, if I'm not communicating with you, I give you permission to, knock on my door or hit me up or mention this line to me, and that will get me stirred up or something like that. So you need to have a trigger point that actually makes you feel a little embarrassed or a little angry or disappointed, so that you get a kick up the ass and do that next step. And remember, all a kick up the ass is just a 4th step in the right direction. It's nothing personal. It's just the person caring about you to succeed, so that at the end of the 8 weeks, you're winning and you're smashing out these goals. Okay. Best person to do accountability. Sorry, not the best person is not the partner. You don't want that friction. So if I use Sharon as my accountability buddy and she calls me on it, she can get me angry and I can take it out on her, even though she's doing something for me. And it's not fair on her because I've given her permission, and then I take it out on her because who are you to tell me what to do? You haven't done anything. And I can get narky. So a partner is your husband or your wife or your girlfriend or whatever is not the right person. It needs to be someone external that you don't fear, but you respect that when they say something, you're like, I'll do that for you, sort of thing. Okay. Because it's only to benefit you, and your relationships don't need that tension in it, especially when people are going through health things, because typically they're going through their own emotional stuff as well. Okay. Nice and easy. Ask for help. Don't be too embarrassed. Grab a buddy. And sometimes you can just get someone else's perspective on something. You might be struggling with something, and then someone else speaks something to you and you go, oh my God, you're so right. And you just pick up one golden gem. You guys coming onto these online IQ sessions, the same thing. You may have heard some of the message before, but you might hear something you haven't heard before. Oh my God, that's relevant for me right now. That's what you're looking for. One little hook, one little gold gem, one little gold nugget that's going to help me kick on and make sure I complete.
I'm going to give you a gold nugget here too. Every winner of an 8-week challenge that we've had has watched every single IQ session.
All of them.
So they say that a success leaves clues. So this is one of those ones that really should become a non-negotiable for you, because you can watch it anytime. If you can't make the live session, you can watch it back later because we post up the recordings. But all of our winners have not missed an IQ session.
And we were speaking to the last winner, Mons, just so that I was taking her for a training session. And I didn't even know she was doing that because she's never on them live. She always watches them back because she goes, I'm just a mum. I don't have time to do them at this time because it's bedtime and stuff like that. And we're like, yeah, I understand that. She goes, but I always watch them and they're really great and they help me get through this time. So it's really cool to hear. And I was like, oh, did you watch just some of them or all of them? And she's like, no, never missed a beat, all of them. Because you get something that you may be looking for on that day or on that week. And sometimes it's the right thing. Sometimes it may not be, but it may be something that you've been needing to hear for a little bit.
And it's even just that whole getting around the campfire. Like, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if you're adding more time around people and settings like this, where it is literally set up to get you your goals and your results, I think that's a pretty good campfire to be around. And the closer you are to it, the warmer you get. So that's kind of the theory of stay around the campfire. Yeah,
exactly. Really cool. Number 3, you need to reward yourself. And we're a big one on this one here. Don't reward yourself with food because you're not a dog.
You're not a dog.
Okay.
Sit.
That's how you reward a dog. You give them food, good boy, good girl, with food. So don't do that. Like, we already eat food. This whole challenge is about, these challenges are all about, you don't have to go without. There's no lack of food in this challenge. It's just we allocate your numbers to be able to have those foods that you maybe want to go when you go out for dinner. So food isn't an option anymore because you should be eating. If you're doing it right, you should be eating all the foods that you love, just paying attention to what they are in a numeric value. So reward yourself with something like an item of clothing, or maybe it's a trip to the city, or it's an excursion, it's time away, whatever way you like to be rewarded the most. Reward yourself in that way, but don't make it food. Oh, when we finish this, we're going out and having burgers. Have the burgers during the challenge and say, get the challenge going. I did this and I ate burgers. God, I love burgers. I really do. And the cool part is you can get the results and still eat burgers and still eat fries. We've told you that. It's nothing wrong with it. There's actually, everything's great about it. That's why it's been put on this planet to be eaten. Someone's created this wonderful thing and you can eat it. If you don't like burgers, don't eat the burgers. But if you like them, you can eat them. But you have to count them. That's the only thing we're saying. So you don't need to reward yourself with food at the end because you're already eating the whole way through the challenge if you're doing it right. So find something that you can reward yourself with, be it like clothing, jewelry, might need a new phone, trips, cinemas, all that sort of stuff there. All options, but have a tangible result for finishing it, regardless of the result, whether you go first, last, in the middle, it doesn't actually matter. Reward yourself for completing the challenge. If you want to take that next level, like we spoke about last week, is you can take it to the next level and pre-buy the item that for completing it and set yourself up a really tasty challenge and go, if I do not complete this challenge, I will gift this item that I already purchased to someone else as a consequence for not following through.
Or you could give me your credit card number, and if you don't do it, I get to buy something for myself.
You don't want that because she liked the Louis Vuitton. That means expensive. She will be buying.
I'll do a budget. I'd like to do a cap.
Yeah, okay.
I could give offer my services free of charge.
You're very
for that.
kind. Yeah.
I know.
I don't know if it's free of charge. You said you want the credit card.
Yeah, but like the service is free.
Okay.
It's just
you waive the fees. But if you can do that, that's really holding yourself accountable. So purchase something and then gift it away if you don't achieve it. If you don't honor what you said you're going to do from start to finish, and having the balls to do that at the end of a challenge, regardless, I'm not giving that away. I'm not giving that watch away, that phone away, that piece of clothing, whatever it is. To be able to just go and do it and just admit that you didn't nail it and honor what you do next time, it actually is a great tool to remind you that, no, I'm not doing this. I'm going to get the reward at the end, and the reward is this, and pre-buy it before you do the challenge. That's the key.
Yeah.
Next one, you have to encourage yourself. There's only two more steps to go, guys. First one is to encourage yourself. You have to speak to yourself better. You have to encourage yourself to be better. You have to. Don't rely on Matt and Sheridan and your partners to do it. You have to muster up the encouragement and mention to yourself, I'm going to go exercise today at 8 o'clock. Tell your family, I am exercising today at 8 p.m. And that's it, right? And then you tell yourself that you're going to do it. And when you do it, you go, damn right, I did that. That was for me. But when it's for you, much like the airplane analogy, when it's crashing, the masks drop out and it says, put the oxygen mask on you first before you help the people next to you. Think of that theory being exercise, being the oxygen mask that you need to do for yourself because it benefits you so much more so that you can be present for your partner and your kids and your job or whatever it is in your life that you're looking to do. So looking after you is number one. Think of exercise as the oxygen mask that you have to put on you first before you can help everyone else. And then when you do that, celebrate that you did it. Encourage yourself going, cool, tomorrow I've got a busy day. I'm not going to be able to do it in the morning. I'm going to have to do it at 8 o'clock at night again. All right, 30 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever it is for you. I'm going to do that. I'm going to have to jump online because FBFM doesn't have any classes running at that time. Boom. And then do it. And then next day, look at your day ahead, put the next one in. Look at the day ahead. You might find that it's like this all the time. It doesn't matter. You might go, I only like to work out in the mornings. Well, sometimes you have to suck it up, princess, and do it in the evening because the mornings are all taken up and something just comes up. And if you go in with that attitude, you'll derail because you're already negotiating what needs to be done. Encourage yourself. Use really great words of encouragement towards yourself. Your words speak the most volume to you that you hear. Like I said before, Sheridan can say, you're an idiot. If I believe Sheridan, there's the challenge. It's regardless of what words come at me, because if I believe it, that's the challenge, because I don't really care if she calls me that because I don't believe I am. So that's her hang up, not mine. Okay. Next one is change your language, which this runs in perfectly. The last one, if you change your language, you will change your outcome. That's inevitable. So if I say I cannot do this, you're 100% correct. You cannot do it. You'll find every reason not to do it. I'm too tired. It's too hot. It's too this. It's, oh my God, Dan Andrews, all that sort of stuff. It starts going like crazy reasons to not achieve something. And if Sheridan says to me, I can't do it, and I agree with her, I start finding the reasons why she's right. So if you can change your language, you will change your outcome. But just by switching it and saying to yourself, I can do this. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I can do it. You will get it done. It's just in our human nature, in our DNA, to go and complete stuff. And we figure it out. And that's why I love watching kids problem solve something, because they can say, I can't do it. And mummy and daddy can come and save the day and do it for them. Bow, bow. Mummy and daddy should sit back and say, you can do it. You have to figure it out. That's the difference. Don't do stuff for the kids. Stand back and let them figure it out. They will figure it out. They're very intelligent, more intelligent than you, I promise you. Don't take that away from them just because they're 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever they are. Give them the credibility that is due. Their brains work all the time. Yours switches off and on. You've done your, oh, I've learned all that when I was little. They don't forget, they don't never forget, and they're always thinking. So let them problem solve. But you can do the same thing, by the way, but let them problem solve. Don't take it from them. Let them know, put the good words into them, because if you speak great words into them, I believe you can do this. You can do it. Get going. I trust you. I can't wait for you to finish it. You're going to be amazing. If you speak like that to your children, they will figure it out, regardless of how they might flip their shit and lose themselves. They will figure it out if they really want to do it. But if you go in and save them and do it for them, they won't figure it out. Okay. Really simple. Go through it again. Limit distractions and disruptions. Number 2, ask for help. Number 3, reward yourself, but not with food. Number 4, encourage yourself to be better and encourage yourself for winning and doing stuff. And the last one, which is just change your language, change your outcome. And I promise you, if you can implement those things along with those first 5 things that we told you about before, then you can't derail, because you're honoring what you said you're going to say to yourself. And if I say to myself, I'm going to complete the 8-week challenge, and I don't complete the 8-week challenge, I've just said to myself I was going to do something and I didn't do something. So I have a conflict internally with myself with not honoring what I said I was going to do, which is the precedent for the rest of the year. So the first thing you're committing to in big volumes, big commitment, and if you bail on it early, how do you think the stacker effect is throughout the year? And you don't want that. You don't have to have it. And it's so simple. Whew, it's warm, man.
It is warm.
Are we done? I'm done. You done?
I'm done.
Cool. Easy.
Do you guys have any questions
Please.
on that? Please either type away or
Type.
wave at us. But again, as always, we're here to chat more about it. That's writing in the chat. Oh, there you go. If you want to participate in
12.
that stupid game, you may. There is no prizes for this
me
one.
to everyone. Sheridan, how many accents does Matt have? Oh, yeah. 24.
24.
Yeah.
The sulfur rose again. Anyway, on that note, have a sensational Thursday night. If you guys need anything, please reach out. We are here.
We do thank you for coming online and having a listen.
Always. It's so cool that you guys invest in yourselves, which is amazing. And we really love that you bless Let's ask with your time. Sue Helen has asked, or Steve, I'm not sure who, when does the brewery open? Well, good news. Oh, Sue Helen. Or now it's Steve stitching Sue Helen up. 5th of Feb, they're set to open, which is really exciting. That's the brewery next door to the gym. So Friday nights are about to get either really busy or really quiet. And there's definitely going to be burpee consequences if you've checked in to the gym, but then you go to the bar. So I'm definitely going to implement that. Maybe I could do the whole credit card thing again, and I could. I'm really like pushing this idea, aren't I? Seeing if it sticks. I like it. Well, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you ever have any topics in particular that you'd like us to talk about, please send them through, because that makes our life easier, because we can talk about that. We could talk about anything. Really could, couldn't we? Yeah. Challenge accepted. All right, you guys rock. Have a sensational night, and we will see you tomorrow. It's Friday.